I got a little bit of sunshine today. Feels good.
All right, my dear friend, we are live. Um, um, how goes it? First,
It's going great.
give me some updates on what life is presenting you right now. You just got out of surgery,
I
or
had
about 2 weeks
surgery
ago,
6 weeks ago today.
6 weeks ago. Okay,
Actually, no, 6 weeks ago yesterday.
okay.
Actually, was crazy. On Monday morning, like 2 minutes into the first class of my day, the hospital called and said, "So, doctor's got a conflict on Thursday. Could you come in tomorrow?"
Oh,
And I went, yeah, I got to do this. I can't not.
yeah.
So said yes, and immediately had to totally reshift life and figure out and get all my ducks in a row for the day, for the
Mm.
week to be gone. Um, I've been out for 6 weeks. My total out of school is 14 weeks. Like I'm out till the end of the school year. This is like as much as I've missed ever when I had babies, which is 21 years ago. So it's a new thing and life has changed a lot. My sub that round was actually a teacher who taught what I teach. This
Okay,
time around, she's not. She's doing phenomenal, but we're doing a whole lot of co teaching and figuring it out and going through. And now I'm counting down 2 weeks from today is my next hip. And then I will have total bionic woman status.
oh my goodness.
And I'm claiming it because so far so good. The
Yeah,
left leg, which is the new one, it has no pain.
nice.
Um, the right one has decided that it knows that it's next and is going to do everything in its power to like let me know that for the next 2 weeks.
Nice.
Because we just keep smiling. But life is a whole lot less painful on a daily basis, and I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. So new hips, new life, sort of.
Mhm. Sort of.
Um, get a couple of new things coming your in front of you. You're not as much. Are you a textbook workaholic kind of ish? Like
Yes.
you kids are pretty much older. You've got this thing that you're passionate about, and it's
Yeah. Yeah. I had to get a note to be able to go back to school to be okay being in the building. Which I'm like, dude, that was never a thing. Nobody cared when I was in the building when I had babies.
mm,
So, okay, we've just changed it. It's a liability. I get it. No worries. Called the doctor's office. They're like, oh, yeah, here you go.
yeah,
Got it taken care of for me.
mm,
Um, it, life and education is kind of challenging right now. And, I teach a specialized area. So
mm,
I left my classroom with somebody else. And those are the kids who I need to sign up for advanced classes. And I need to tell other kids that they had a really good semester. And, so I need things to go well. I can't just walk away. Um,
okay,
I'm a chair in my department. So, like, I'm in charge of the schedule, I'm in charge of the budget, I'm in charge of making sure we have things. Yes, I'm a workaholic. I can't put it down. In
uh,
addition, so when you go on baby leave, you got this other human you have to take care of.
mm,
And it like totally changes your life because
mm,
it's not just you.
right.
But this one for me, so my pain level is way lower than it used to be.
Mm,
I am functioning at a much higher level. I can walk around. I was doing like 600 steps a day if I was lucky.
mm,
600. And for a long time, I was a 10,000 step person. Um, and slowly have built back up. But now I'm working at, 12 to 1,800 steps. I'm still one hip out. and it's not happy. So, but I've upped my amount of movement in the day. I'm not
Mhm.
in pain. I'm awake. I've got things to do. I want to be out doing things, which is a change of pace from where I was. So, it's a totally different step in life too, because I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
But
Um,
we're making it work.
um, I want to lean in on this. Not in a negative way, but maybe in a curiosity way.
Hmm.
Because what we find when we work in our work environments is that life will happen around us. Like life is going to happen regardless of whether we're there or not.
Hmm.
But when you're enmeshed in your work, sometimes you feel like everything is dependent on you. When in fact, life will go on.
Life
But
will go on. I tell you, Larry, the best thing, I mean, you've seen me in my classroom. You know how my classroom works.
yeah.
My classroom is crazy
Hmm.
because everybody's doing their own thing. Nobody just sits in a desk
Hmm.
and listens to me talk. Like that's the minimal time in my classroom. They're coming in and out. We got a doorbell for the outside door because the doors have to be locked now. So
Mm.
the doorbell rings frequently as the kids are coming in and going, taking pictures. I failed the week before surgery to move a phone call that was like the come check in kind of deal from the
Hmm.
hospital. And I told my kids, I said, you guys, I totally failed you. I forgot to move this appointment. I'm going to have to take this phone call. So are we okay to do this? It was like their second day out doing pinhole photos. They got their metal cans. They know kind of what they're doing, but not totally.
Hmm.
I'm leaving in a week. It's like, okay, we've got this. And the phone rang and I took the phone call. And I sat and watched my class totally and completely take it and run with it for
Hmm.
30 minutes while I was on the phone. And my whole demeanor about the deal went, okay, this is going to be all right.
Hmm.
Because they stepped up and they
Yeah.
knew what was going on and they could do their thing. And I'm trying real hard not to be like totally and completely step in and take it over. If I walk into the classroom, A, my sub knows I'm coming. B, I'm not taking over for her unless she asks me a question. I'm not
Okay.
necessarily talking. I'm typically there to answer questions or deal with something specific that we've already talked about. We do a lot of texting to try and take care of problems.
Okay.
I've got a line of kids there who help the cause. I rely on my students on a
Okay.
whole lot of levels. I have lab assistants. I'm all about empowering other people to be able to do it.
Okay.
And, so I've got that. But I'm working really hard because I'm counting down towards retirement. That's part of the goal is to
Yeah.
be able to step away. I have not been to color guard rehearsal. My
Okay.
assistant coach and my daughter, who run the team, are running the spring rehearsals.
Okay.
I've talked with the kids on our band app here and there and seen them when I've been at school, but I'm being okay. I'm trying to take some steps and address some of that because I know that's my issue.
Okay. That's what I was gonna say. I was right. When somebody that identifies as a workaholic, there's a certain level of everything around. There's a certain level of how do I put this? Um,
Control issue.
control. Control's a good word. I try to make it as light as possible. But yeah, control is the
No,
word I'm thinking of, or
totally true.
dependency
Yeah.
in the environment.
Part of my dependency on the environment, though, is like I like the environment.
Yeah.
And most of the time in my classroom, I'm just sitting at my desk waiting for them to need something,
Hmm. Okay.
working on other stuff.
Hmm.
Because when the kids are in lab time, They do them. I am not a follower. I do not just get up and wander around.
Okay.
Say, hey, how's it going? Are you doing okay? I'm not that person. I
Okay.
like give them what they need and I drop them and say, you go. When you need me, you come back to find me.
So the
And in the
environment
meantime, find somebody else if you can.
the environment is pseudo interdependent in and of itself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, very much so. And it's just kind of fun to be in the environment.
Yeah.
You know,
You,
it's
you talk
engaging. There's a lot going on.
you talk about your getting ready for retirement. When is that?
I don't know
How long you
yet.
got?
If I count them down to 65, I got 6 years. I do
6
claim
years.
my age. I'll be 59. What are we at? 2 months from Saturday. So 65 gets me 6 years left. 62 gets me 3 years. And teaching, the magic number is 88. When your
Okay.
age and the number of years you've taught add up to 88, you can retire and get IPERS. Did I hit that like 3 years ago?
Okay. Nice.
And for everybody who says, dude, you should just quit and go find a different job till you're done. No, I don't think you understand what I do. Like, I'm a teacher. I work hard. Don't get me wrong. But I get to teach kids how to take photographs. I teach art class.
Yeah.
I get to do my own art as I'm doing some of that.
Yeah.
It's, the color guard part is creative for me. That's my artwork.
Yeah.
So, finding another job where I had to work 8 to 5
Right.
and restart is like, I don't think so. So, if I have to come up with another job to be retired, I'm not sure what that job's going to be. So I'm holding out. I just keep saying 65. I am open to, if things happen in the meantime that I need to make other decisions. I think I could do it,
Mhm.
but
But at this
I like my
point,
job.
yeah, that's what I was saying. I take it you like what you do. You're
I
doing you
do.
do what you love. Even when you talk about it, describe it, it seems like a beautiful picture of navigating the workday.
Yeah,
Um,
it is. And for all the bad karma we get from the high school kids, dude, I love high school kids.
mm,
And I really, the number of negative things in a day is not even every day and is so far outweighed by the positives. And typically speaking, if a kid does something stupid, I'm not the only one who's going, dude, that was dumb. There are other
mm,
kids around them who are realizing that.
right.
So I'm not even alone in the game.
Mhm.
If I was the only one sitting there all the time going, no, not going to handle it, can't do it, don't want to deal with these kids. But my day is filled with, like, I tell people when they ask what I teach great kids. I get to teach them photography and art. I
Yeah.
get to teach them color guard. Our guard kids right now, we have 7 kids returning to the team next year.
Mhm.
The only kid we had one senior, and she was actually from the other high school. So we
Mhm.
combined our teams this year, which was a lot of fun. But returning 7 kids, we're doing rehearsal one night a week. They were basically told, go find new tricks. And we're bringing in some other, alumni to come and work with them
Nice.
and help with the tricks and find new things. And they're working on solos. And they're there because they want to be there. It's an optional rehearsal, but they were all there last night.
Nice.
Yeah. So, when that's what you're working with, it's not hard to want to be.
Yeah. Um, when you get in retirement, you know exactly what you want to do. But I imagine it'd be difficult to pull away from what's already been like your purpose, your passion, kind of ish.
Yeah. Yeah. but mentally, I'm also preparing myself to say, when I'm done, I'm going to be done.
Okay.
Will I totally and completely check out of everything? I don't know. I mean, one of my side gigs is I go and I judge color
Mhm.
guard for marching band season all fall, and typically do about 3 weekends. And I love doing that. That's a lot of fun.
Mhm.
One of the guys that I work for was my high school band director, and I give him a really hard time. I'm like, dude, we need some younger folks here because occasionally I'm like the young one on the panel.
Mhm.
One of the panels we judged on this fall, it was me and one guy, he's a year younger than me. And I'm
Mhm.
like, dude, if we don't get some young folks in here. However, I love doing it. And he said to me this year, he's like, you're not going to get to be done with this because you're good. I'm like, okay. I get positive feedback for it. So if I can keep doing that, I'm excited that hopefully I'll be able to walk up the stairs in the stadium a little more comfortably this fall because that was a challenge last fall.
Mhm. Yeah.
But, so will I totally be out? Uh, can I maybe go in and work with other teams and do one rehearsal instead of having to do all of them?
Mhm.
We'll see. I don't know. Kind of depends on what else comes up.
You're getting towards. You say you got 6 more years towards retirement. And that sort of means you're edging towards the fourth chapter of your life. I mean, it's this
Hmm.
is the it's more than retirement. It's the fourth chapter, right?
Yeah.
You're clearing the third chapter, which is really the blunt of a person's career, and the fourth chapter is sort of like, you know, you're going out to the pasture. You're going
Yeah.
out
But I'm
to
not going to the pasture.
an house
I got
full of
goals. In case anybody who watches, I'm looking to find that partner for life.
yeah,
The online dating world is a whole different realm.
yeah.
Um, and so far not being real successful.
Mm.
But totally and completely approaching that with everything I approach the rest of life. It's a learning experience. I'm learning about myself, I'm learning about other people, and I'm learning about how to be a great scammer.
How to be a great what?
Scammer.
Scammer.
Oh yeah.
That's gonna be, that's gonna be the title. For viral content, that's gonna be the title of this feed here. I'm gonna lean in on
Yeah.
that one.
How to find a scammer, which
How to find a scammer. Okay.
which I guess, to be fair, dealing with high school kids is a whole lot of that to begin with. Are you really doing your own work?
Right.
Did you use AI for that?
Right.
It's a whole different deal than it used to be. So I guess, it's not really fair to them, but we figure it out. I would love to travel. I
Okay.
need 3 more states and I've got all 50.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I've done Hawaii and Alaska.
Oh, wow.
So I've done those big ones.
Yeah.
I need Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont,
Okay.
which we're talking about because my mom needs those too. And then I'd love to travel overseas
Mm.
and go take another cruise. We did an Alaskan cruise. I would love another cruise,
Yeah.
maybe more. You know, if money was no problem, dude, I'd book one of those year-long cruises and go around the world. That would be a blast.
Yeah. Um.
So I got goals.
So you got that going on. How does someone fit into that type of, when you talk about looking for a partner, um, for this chapter of your life? How does you have you? I mean, how do you envision that partner sort of coexisting with you, sort of checking things off? Are they going to be with you? Are they going to be waiting for you to come
Absolutely.
back?
No. Mm-mm. If you're not going to come along for the ride, you're not my partner.
Okay, so they got to have enough financial standing in order to be able to hang with you.
Yeah, not that I have a whole lot of high financial standards. I'm a teacher. But I'm okay with, less home and extra cash to go travel.
Yeah.
And I'm just as happy sitting enjoying making s'mores by the fire pit in the backyard. I want to be able to just enjoy. I don't want to have to work all the time. I want to be able to go, take a day trip someplace if you want to.
Hmm.
So, trying to find somebody who's about the same place in life as I am.
Is that hard? And I'd imagine that there's probably a lot out there, especially in the internet space. You're probably not going to find it locally. But I would imagine even with the internet, you'd be able to find, without the internet, you're sort of stuck with what's in proximity for the most part.
Yeah.
But the internet, they could scour the city if it wanted to.
You can
Because,
scour the world if you want to. You
yeah,
just
scour the
who
world.
knows for real.
Yeah.
That's the hardest part. It bothers me that there are people out there who make it their job to just go take down other people. I work really hard to be the positive person, to take everything for what it is,
Mm.
to give the benefit of the doubt. I want the people around me to be able to be successful. I want people to be able to have fun. And then you have to go into every meeting, every relationship in that whole environment as they could be not for real,
Mm.
which, I think always puts that edge of iffiness on. I really want to like you, but there are some red flags here.
Yeah, when you're younger, it's a lot. It's you don't you're not as if we're just getting out of high school, you
Mm-hmm.
know, we're not as we don't have as much tainted life experience sometimes as someone who is probably going through a divorce or two. Like, who knows what's bringing them to a point of singlehood up to this
Right?
point here.
You're either
Um,
divorced or you lost your spouse
yeah,
or you're still single. Although, honestly, haven't seen as many of those.
yeah. I figure if a person's still single, like, are they, at a certain point, are they even compatible? Because they've lived their whole life
Right?
learning to adapt and be okay with not being around a person. It's like maybe the attachment gets lost.
Yeah, there's that little bit of other, you go, so why are you still single at 60?
Right. Yeah. 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 Um, yes, anybody that has excuse my French if we could talk adult here, anybody that has a remote sex drive is going it's going to be a level of, you know, wanting to be in some type of not less they, I guess it's different. But then again, it's like if they had that type of lifestyle where they were just, in and out with individuals, a Rolling
Hmm.
Stone, albeit, why would they? Well, people can have a change of heart. I guess you can't be biased.
Yeah.
What scenario? Let me ask you the question because you're out there on the internet market.
Okay.
You see the broad spectrum of individuals within a certain range here, age range. Um, what do you see as the red flags? What do you think are red flags within the dating atmosphere when someone is single at this around this point here?
Well, yeah, I don't know. Just the simple red flags are, dude, you got to go double check everybody's photographs before you really even get in there to make sure. I was talking with somebody, and my sister had done a whole lot of online dating,
Mhm.
um, and sent her a photo, and she thought she recognized the picture, and it was somebody else's pictures. He wasn't for real.
Oh wow. Okay.
So you immediately have to assume that it may or may not be them.
Hmm.
Um, Anybody who won't talk to you on the phone or won't do a video call,
Mhm.
like that's my thing. I'll chat with
Okay.
you on text for a little bit, but if it feels like it might be going somewhere, you're going to have to video call me. And if
Mhm.
you can't or won't do that, I got to assume you're not there.
Mhm.
Um, the kind of conversation. Obviously, there are the people who are out there looking for building a relationship.
Mhm.
If it builds too fast, that's usually not a good sign.
Mhm.
Um, for me, a lot of that conversation becomes the conversation. I like to talk. I like to engage in conversation, which means both of us have to talk. So if
Mhm.
your response is always, okay, all right, where are we going from there?
Yeah, especially on the internet or over the phone, I can understand
Uh-huh.
how that might
Yeah,
slow
we're
down
texting and
engagement.
all you ever say is okay. You're probably not my person or you're not for
Yeah.
real. Um, I'm a very open and accepting person.
All right.
You know, taking a class on like dealing with cultures and in the classroom kinds of stuff. I Skin color is not an issue for me. I mean, my ex was black. My kids are mixed.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I have a child who's a lesbian.
Yeah.
There's nothing there. Do you have an accent? My grandmother came from England. She had an accent my whole life. So grew up with that. That's not an odd thing for me. So if somebody says, hey, I have an accent from so and so, okay. Well, a whole lot of the folks who are out there being scammers have an accent.
Is that right?
Mhm.
All right. So that's a major online, you
So
know.
that's yeah. So it's every little thing, but it's those things that like all of those things. If you're a kid in my classroom, you're there and you're adding something different because you have something that makes you different from everybody else,
Yeah.
which every kid has. Some of them just have to work harder at it.
Yeah.
Um, you know, but like I value all of that. It's so it's kind of hard for me to just go, oh, nope, you have an accent. No, you're gone. Um, my big one though, like I live a very public life with what I do.
Mhm.
People know me, and I went to pick up photographs the other day at Walgreens, and the gal who gave me my photographs I had in class
Mhm.
20 some years ago, her kid is in high school now.
Mhm.
You know, so I know people everywhere I go. I with the color guard, I like people have seen the color guard. Anybody comes to a football game, come to a basketball game, you've probably seen me on the microphone.
Mhm.
Um, And last year, I think before Christmas, we were at a basketball game the one night out in the hallway getting ready, and a guy was talking to one of our kids and used inappropriate language to be used at a school. And I said, hey, let's watch our language. We are got
Mhm.
to remember we are here in the school. And he took it very well. We had nice conversation. In the meantime, he asked, you know, what did I teach and everything? And I tell him, not a
Mhm.
big deal. And he's like, oh, my friend is a photographer. You should get in contact with her. She's doing some cool things. I think you guys would get along really well. Took my phone out of my hands, put his phone number in, and texted so that he could text me her information. Dude, I don't use my real phone number in online dating. I have to be careful about what I say because I am very public. It doesn't
Mhm.
take very much, and you can go look me up and find out everything
Yeah.
if you want to go searching, which, you know, is really out there, and a lot of people can do that anyway. But
Is it? is it in the strategic best interest to have a distant relationship? You know, I don't know. I don't know, man. I guess we're in a global society, but I mean, if somebody was way overseas, do you think that that's sustainable, especially when you're trying to, do activities and have,
No, no, but like one guy's from Madison,
okay,
but he's working someplace else. Well,
okay,
that's what his profile says. That's, but ended up not being so good.
okay.
So it's so easy to lie on the internet.
Hmm. Yeah.
And I struggle with that a little bit, just because why do we need to do that?
Do you feel, particularly as a female, I'd imagine it'd be easier. They say with the online stuff, it's a lot easier for women than it is for men in general, right? Because women traditionally are a little bit more pickier. It's hard for men to sort of like, whereas in, you know, it's like, the idea that, females, they probably get a lot of clamoring. They probably get way more attention than men do online traditionally from women. Yes?
Yeah,
No?
I guess so. I don't know, because I don't get to experience the other side of it.
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
I was in one site, and oh my God, the number of messages that I was getting on a daily basis was like crazy stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't think
And
men get that. I did some online dating back in my heyday, and it wasn't so glorious on my end.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I try and be positive, and if I see something I like, even, I exchanged messages with one guy and sent him a note just based on one of the photographs.
Mm.
And, it was like, thanks for the note. He said, you're a little too far away from me. I said, you're a little too far away from me too. But if we don't at least recognize a positive here or there,
Mm. Yeah.
why are we out here?
Yeah.
And I have made some friends
Mm.
within the whole deal.
Yeah.
There have been a couple of guys who I've gone out with, and we're like, okay, we're cool, but we're not it. But
Mm.
we could be friends.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if men have to deal with everything. Are there as many women scammers out there as there are guy scammers?
I don't know. It's a good question.
I don't know either, because I don't deal with them.
Well, based off of your experience, your background, with the online dating, what advice would you give to someone who is trying to find a connect point? Like, have you found a rhythm? Like, is there you get to the online space, you sort of figure out how to navigate through the space. Have you figured that out yet?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. About every time I think I've got it, it's somebody else. The big ones are like, just pay attention and be on top of it. And if somebody asks you for money, say no.
Um, I
And
would, I would,
my profile says that. Dude,
yeah,
I don't know why you're even getting me if you think you're going to scam, because my profile says I'm not going to give you money.
well, um, I would imagine nowadays, everybody's got a Facebook profile. Like if somebody if you wanted to do some reconnaissance, I'm plugging my phone my thing in. If you
Oh, yeah.
wanted to do some reconnaissance on somebody and they were to give you access to them, I would imagine you'd be able to find out a lot of relatively public information about it.
So, Facebook dating is a thing.
Okay.
And if somebody comes across somebody comes into my line of people, or they like me,
Mm-hmm.
if we share them as if you're their friend, like, I don't know who they are, but they're your friend. It tells me that. And I can go to your site and go look them up and figure out who they are. You know, even if there's 5 guys called Jerry or whatever, you can figure it out based on the photographs.
Right.
And go see. Now, some people have that all blocked because they don't want you to go look at that kind of stuff. But there's a part of that where I go, but if you're totally and completely blocked.
Right.
And the other side of that, though, is if you're not my friend, you don't see everything on my Facebook. Because I had enough people coming in before all of this, you know, who were trying to scam in on things. And so, you know, it's a weird world out there.
Yeah, but that's going on in your world there. You're this season of your life, you are open to positive connections. You're taking this adventure, call it, in this chapter of your life.
And nothing more. I'm having fun. I have to say, I was talking with a guy who was feeding me back AI generated responses to questions. And I'm like,
oh, nice.
Dude, I'm a high school teacher. I get how the AI thing works. You sound very AI. No, that's just me. Oh, bullshit. That ain't you. It's all AI. However, there were a couple of comments that came back that the description and what they said back, because AI is always about, you know, taking what you've said and it sounds like you're this or you're that. And I went, dude, I kind of like what you're saying back to me. Okay, screenshot. Keep that for later. He went away, but, you know, appreciated the way it was playing. So learning about myself, what I want, gives me something to do, somebody to talk to, somebody different. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
We'll see how it goes. Definitely interesting. Yeah, I'll come from that a little bit. You know, because I did have a question with regards to the older we get, the harder the market becomes.
Yes.
And
most definitely,
you know, so you interpret that like the harder it becomes. Why is it harder in your opinion? Let me ask as open-ended question.
I think it gets harder because we have a better understanding of what we want.
Okay.
We're not as willing to like let up on expectations. Okay. You know, when you're younger, you hope somebody grows out of something, or, you know, they can learn this, or we can make that work. And at this point, it ain't going to happen. So, you know, I'm not going to ever, if we're not really making it happen, it's probably not going to figure itself out. Because everybody is a little bit more stuck in their ways, which, you know, I am as well. I won't claim innocent in that game.
Yeah. Okay.
So I don't know. The thing that amazes me is how many younger men like older women.
But duly noted.
My profile says like 40 or 56 to 62, give or take. But the apps never totally and completely get it down that far. And, you know, I've had contacts from a number of younger men. Well, I like older women. Okay, but I'm going to retire, and I'm not looking for somebody who still has 20 years ahead of them.
Yeah. Does that denote a lack of seriousness when you got a young man? Does that denote his lack of seriousness? Like there's a reality to finding somebody within a certain age range with regards to walking through life with them, as compared to, I always think when somebody's extremely young, at some point it's going to get to a point where there's a disconnect.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and why aren't you just looking for somebody who's about your own age?
Right.
So, I don't know. I have a young man who I do talk to on a regular basis who we're friends at this point.
Mhm.
Never going to be a thing. But it's like, dude, I could be your mom.
He's like, that's the point. That's his fetish.
Not going to be your mom. It's not what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I don't care how old you are. Don't call me daddy's little girl. Dude, I'm almost 60. That's a whole different level of creepy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like I said, learning.
Well, I'm not gonna edge too much into the next hour here, but it's always good speaking with you. You know, you're a bucket of positive, sensible energy, to
Well,
say
I
the
try.
least.
That's my goal.
You're in a beautiful point in your life where you're passionate about what you do, and now you get to sort of like, not I see you passing on the legacy to other people.
Mm-hmm.
And I see you walking into the wonderful. I don't know how best to describe it, but you're walking into a wonderful chapter in your life.
Yeah, I'm taking the next step, and I want it to be as positive a place as I've been in. I'm looking for that next chapter to be even more exciting than what I do now, because I'm not going to have some of the limitations. I don't have to get up for work every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is the scary part of this be off work right now. Dude, I don't get up at 6:00 every morning. Ooh, fall's going to be rough.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Because you gotta have the summer off, and God help when you have to sort of readjust the schedule and jump back into it for another 6 years.
Which we do every year. I mean, but yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. It's gonna be a rude fall, I have a feeling.
Yeah. But you got this. You got 6 more years, and then you get to ride off into the sunset. And I don't want to disclose too much, but I know somebody who is a male who's in a similar position that you're in. They're single. They're in their, I think they're in their 70s, and they're edging towards retirement. And what advice would you give somebody in a similar situation, in a similar place or chapter in life as you right now, who may be wondering, okay, what's next? Or for me, the bigger question is the best case, worst case scenario with regards to dating life. Like I'm thinking in the back of my head, okay, what if Steph doesn't find that person? Is that going to make this chapter of her life, is it going to put a stain on
travel on her own? There are single cruises, there are single trips where you can go on your own, and everybody in the group is single of all sorts of different ages, and I'm just as happy walking into a group and making friends.
Is it important to have that disposition? Because some individuals say, like, I need, especially men in particular, like, I need somebody, I need someone. Whereas women have a stronger disposition when it comes to like being single, and like they're like, I don't need it, but I want it.
Right. Which is where I'm at. I
Yeah.
don't need you. I'd like to have someone to join me for the next step of life. If
Yeah.
it's not something I find, then we'll keep on moving. I'm actively looking. They always say, as soon as you stop looking, that's when people show up.
Yeah.
I think my grandma was like 78 when she got remarried.
What? Wow.
Yeah. They met in the old folks home.
Yeah.
Um, so, you never know. My sister just got married in October to a guy she met online.
Nice.
I have another friend who just got engaged to a guy she met online.
Nice.
It's out there. The positive stories happen.
Yeah.
In the meantime, like I said, I'm using it as a positive. It's kind of fun. I'm meeting new people. Some of them are real, some of them aren't. But I'm
Yeah.
learning about myself and what I really do want in the process.
Mhm.
Because there are
Yeah.
things that I'm checking off my list going, nope,
Right.
not going to go there, not going to concede on that.
Yeah, I have no doubt that you'll find somebody out there, like especially with the broadness of the internet. So, and you got a pretty good profile. You don't with all due respect, like your kids are grown. You got a
Mm-hmm.
relatively you're relatively successful financially as far as your career. I mean,
Yeah,
it
I'll be
seems like an
okay.
easy, huh?
I'll be okay.
Yeah, but it seems like an easy pick. You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's like there's a lot. It's not like you seem like you got relatively good mental health and emotional capacity.
Thank you.
Let's call a spade a spade.
You
So
know, yeah, well, we'll see.
yeah,
In the
yeah.
meantime, it is what it is. And I'm working to enjoy every day and have some fun. And I'll be planning my travel adventures, whether there's somebody with me or not.
Give me one word that encompasses everything that we just talked about in a nutshell with regards to where you're sitting at.
Empowered.
Empowered. All right. Well, we'll leave on that note, on an empowered note. Then.
Sounds great.
All right. Steph, we'll talk to you. We'll chat on the back end a little bit.
Sounds good.
And then we'll go from there. Otherwise, have a good day. Thanks for the chat, the meetup. Thanks for entertaining this conversation.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll give you a call before the end of the week. So, all right.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. All right, Steph. Talk to you.
Bye.
Bye. We are done.